Hello, welcome to the video. This is the quarter 3 Serrano market report. My name is Chris Wolf. I am the local real estate expert here in Serrano and appreciate you taking the time to watch this. So, I'm just going to take about 5 minutes and just go over some of the concepts that really address what's happening with the market because there has been a ton of change since the last video I put out. So, last quarter in April, things were really starting to get strong and get momentum picking up. And then tariffs, global uncertainty, pretty much everything. And that really put buyers on pause for a while. We've seen some price adjustments. We've seen some change in the data. And so just want to break it down in a couple key points that really give you an idea of where things are at, whether you are just curious and want to know, or you're thinking of buying a property in the next couple of months or this year, or you're thinking about having to sell your home in the next couple of months or year. So regardless of where you are, this should hopefully be helpful and brief. So let me just go to the first page here of the insert. But sales by month in Serrano. So the lowest sales or closed sales were in January, and then everything has picked up from there. As you can see, the last 2 months, well, so May and June, we've had 25 sales in the neighborhood each month, which is actually very healthy, and that's increased pretty steadily for the year. The average days on market as well. This is a better indicator, but the average days on market has dropped from nearly 100. I think it was 92 in January days on market to sold. And then it bottomed out in May to about 28 days, so under 30 days, which is excellent. And then we saw an uptick in June. Now, the important thing about this is the average days on market is a little bit of a lagging indicator because whatever's happening, 2 months prior when things go pending and when they actually close, that's when that day on market is actually logged into our data here. So the high days on market, almost 100 in January, that's really reflecting on the activity of October, November, the end of 2024. And if you remember, there was a lot of uncertainty, a lot of pause at that time because of one, the election, two, the holidays, and there were just people on the back burner. So properties were taking a lot longer to sell. And that's then that was translated forward into when they actually started closing in January and February with those higher days on market. So that's very important to know. But as far as like where's the economy now, I mean, we've seen a huge shift into a buyer's market, and that's more depending on where you live. Obviously, if you're in states like Texas, Florida, places that have run up really heavily during COVID times, some of those gains are retreating now because those markets have seen big price drops. Buyer activities almost become non-existent, and then you've got areas like Sacramento, which has seen, to a lesser degree, price drops, buyer activity slow, and then great locations like El Dorado Hills, like Serrano. Again, we've seen an effect. We've seen a shift to a buyer's market, but in no way have we seen like any kind of major cataclysmic event in the real estate market. And I don't think we're going to see it. I think that was a little more unknown about 30 days ago because with tariffs, with global unrest, with all these different things coming into play, nobody really knew how was that going to affect the economy. And a lot of people were saying, this is it, we're going to recession, especially with tariffs. And that fully hasn't been played out. But we have seen some really good numbers. And so a couple just statistics that, maybe you've seen on the news or whatever, but a couple good numbers. Inflation is now at 2.4%. And that's the CPI. So that's consumer price index. And that does not include food or energy, which I don't even know why they use that as a measure of inflation because food and energy is really what is expensive and what everyone cares about. But so CPI is at 2.4. If you account for food and energy in that number is about 2.8. But that's great. Those are great numbers. And that's actually the best inflation numbers we've seen since 2021. So that's excellent news. The other thing, the unemployment report in June came out better than expected. There was 147,000, jobs that were created, and the unemployment rate is hovering right around 4%. So again, great news. And the effects of tariffs haven't fully been seen, but it is trending the right direction, which is, if you're in real estate or you're looking to buy or sell, or well, if you're looking to sell, it's great because we're not going to see some kind of huge price dip in the market. Whether you're on whichever side of that equation you're on, there's a couple things to know. One, if you are a seller, I wanted to bring up this next page here, but I put the top 10 year-to-date sales in Serrano. And the reason isn't to just show, oh, these houses sold for a ton of money. The real important key in this is the days on market. If you look on the days on market, they're actually average well under 30 days. And so it shows that it doesn't really matter how expensive the home is. It's just how is it priced in relation to what else is available. And that's really the key point. If you're looking to sell your home, It used to be where it's typically traditionally been real estate agents will look at or consumers will look at these properties sold around me for this much money recently, so my house should be worth this much money, and it translates pretty easily. What's changed now is I think it's more important to look at what is the active inventory available, because inventory is growing, has grown, not to some huge amount, but it's definitely month by month increased. So you want to look at what is available for buyers in this price point, in my price point of my property, and I would need to be the best option for that money. So if everything is listed for 1.2 to 1.3 million around you, you'd want to be closer to that 1.2. So if there's only 10 to 15 sales in the neighborhood per month, you're definitely going to be picked as one of those sales. Your property is going to be picked. So you want to be the best looking one at the dance, for example, rather than just rely on, hey, this property sold 4 months ago for this, because homes are not worth what they were 4 months ago. In an appreciating market, things, you're selling everything for 1 million, and then it's what's appreciating, so you put it on for 1,050,000 and you get it. Well, now it's working in the opposite way. So when things were worth about $1 million 4 months ago, 5 months ago, now they're selling for 950 to 975, and that's the trend reversal we've seen. So if you do want to sell, you got to remember prices are just not what they were 6 months ago. They've definitely softened and buyers have more options, so you need to price accordingly and make the strategy around that. Otherwise, what happens is you do sit on the market and you end up chasing the market down. And if your home really should have sold for 1 million, you might end up taking 950 because you just priced it too high and it got stagnant, and somebody took an opportunity, which leads into the buyer side of the equation. And actually, before I move on that, if you are selling a home, most people, most people who are selling right now are also buying something. And what I tell people that I'm working with is, if we're taking a little bit less than we would have 6 months ago, so I'm using round math, but say we're going to sell for $1 million and you end up taking 950, most people are actually moving up. So they're buying $1.5 million home. Well, the good thing is that $1.5 million home is now trading at 1.4, 1.375. So just remember, if you're taking a little bit less now, you're going to be able to pick that up. If you have a good strategy in place, you're going to be able to pick that up on the buy side of the equation, and to a larger dollar amount, because most people are moving up. So if that's your situation, keep that in mind. Now, if you're buying, what's great is you have your options. There's a lot of homes that have been on the market for longer than standard. Most people don't have competing offers that you're having to compete against, so you can make offers for whatever, and you're getting a lot more traction on that. So sellers are typically taking 2 to 3% less than what the list price is, which is a big dollar amount. And so it's a good opportunity to pick up stuff in good neighborhoods that, look, if you look at a neighborhood like Serrano, like it's an excellent area. The long term hold on that is going to be great. And so, $20,000 or $30,000 really shouldn't matter, but you can pick up a little bit on this dip that we're seeing, and pick up that gain. And then when rates do drop, down in the fives, you can cut your house, and don't bank on that, but you can cut your house payment down significantly. So if you're looking to buy, it's an excellent opportunity. But I hope that gives a good, clear picture of kind of where the things are in the market. So we've kind of avoided a recession. We've avoided a cataclysmic real estate event. I think we'll still see maybe a little bit of softening, but I think as rates do start to ease, which they will, now that we're seeing the economic numbers come out positive and inflation numbers come out positive, we're going to eventually start to see rates subside as the year goes on. So it's going to be a balanced market. I think we're going to be like that for a while, and it's a great opportunity to buy. And if you're looking to sell, just make sure you're doing the right strategy to make sure you're not overpricing, and you're marketing the home correctly. So if you want a free valuation of your home, you can click on the QR code at the bottom of this, on your insert. You can, on your Serrano report, click on that QR code. It'll give us the data. We'll provide for you a no obligation, completely free valuation of your home, even just to know, like, what is my home worth now in this market if I chose to sell it. Not that you need to, but just so you can kind of know for your own financial and real estate planning. And then obviously reach out to me and my team at eldoradohillsliving.com, or you can call me directly at 559-289-8218. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Love being part of this neighborhood and community, and having an amazing summer. Thanks. Bye-bye.